Hey everybody, Prophetic here. Wanted to showcase a little mock-up slash GUI prototype that I've been working on. So as you guys know, I've been more than just dabbling in the world of immutable operating systems like Silverblue and Micro OS Desktop, and I've come to make my home um, Micro OS Desktop. Um, and so I started using it when it was beta. It's in release candidate stage now. And I'm thinking I'm not a developer. I'm not a, you know, I don't know how to code or program anything. Um, I can probably test the hell out of something. Um, and you see some of my videos about like submitting bugs and trying to follow up with stuff. And I know I can market and I know I can communicate and add value in those dimensions, but I really want to go deeper and I really want to add value on making apps or tools that make using Linux more pleasant and more accessible, especially for people who don't want to tinker too much. And so this got me thinking about distrobox and toolbox and thinking like, wow, how cool would it be if we had like just a GUI layer on top of toolbox or distrobox. And for this example, I'm just using toolbox and a code name for this is toolboxy. But um, how cool will it be if we made toolboxes and distroboxes more pleasant, more accessible to a new user so they can instantly get the benefit of toolboxes without having to figure a bunch of stuff out? They can just click through a couple things and within seconds grab the benefits. And this is just kind of like a mock up, so I'll take it like, if you want to comment and butcher this, that's fine with me. I'm not going to take it personal, but just realize you might be wasting your time. So, of course, but always, good feedback is good feedback. So, just so imagine you boot up your Micro OS desktop and you install Toolboxy because it's probably a Flatpak or something, and you open it up and hit the landing page and install and launch Toolbox of your choice below. So you can add a toolbox from Toolbox's sources, which is usually distro specific, right? Like, so I think Silverblue's toolbox sources are a little different than Micro OS or OpenSUSE's. But then you can also grab some sources from a custom area, whether it's local or where you work at might have something custom that they do for like cloud stuff and deployments and stuff like that. So for testing, and so you can add those different toolboxes that way from those sources. And for this example, I'm going to add a new toolbox, and I'm taking here, and of course this is again just a sample. This could be dozens or whatever it is. It'll be listed here with their icons, and for some of them we'll have versions. So you know uh, Fedora might have um, a custom variant, um, or you can actually, I don't know if it's even possible to do Silverblue inside macOS desktop if you wanted to. I don't know. And you can technically grab the version. That's, I guess, the main point I'm trying to say here is you can do the version that you want. Um, Arch isn't really gonna be a version because it's rolling, but for Ubuntu, there may be a distro box for different versions. Yeah, so that's kind of like the idea here. So once you grab it, you select the version. There'll probably be like a download confirmation button, and you'll have like a progress bar that might be show up on the bottom. And when it's done, you'll see that here, and you can launch. You'll double click to launch your toolbox, and you'll see like a brief profile listing that is the host. You want to update the host without opening it up, and they'll automatically do that in the back end without having a pop up. It'll just kind of just do it. Um, And if you like having your terminal a certain color, you can configure the color of the terminal so that when it pops up, let's say you're playing with three different terminals, um, you want to visually and instinctively know which terminal it is, like which one you're working with. So you can change the color. This might be even color picker if you really want it. And it kind of is almost like, I don't know if you've there's a recent terminal editor called Blackbox, terminal emulator, and Blackbox has a preference section for colors and themes, and they have really cool color themes that you can just click and change for terminal. And that's kind of like where I'm thinking at, where it's like it's the background will be like a shade. It'll still be dark black or gray, but the shading will maybe different. Maybe like for Ubuntu, it might be a deep like a charcoal gray with with the text being a tinge like orange ish, or it can even be even simpler than that. The terminal border is just a color, you know. So stuff like that to really give you the sense, like, okay, I'm definitely in a Fedora. I'm a Toolbox, OpenSUSE box, um, that kind of thing. Now, I'm not sure how often this happens, but Jorge Castro, who is a advocate of immutable operating systems, did mention that there's opportunity here, either currently it's being done or it could be down the road, where people can import and export their toolboxes and say, hey, I'm having an issue with this. Can you take a look at it? Export toolbox. It gets zipped, sent to a developer, and they get to open it and do some stuff, and kind of like pass it around, so to speak. And that could be interesting. Concept of workflows and stuff like that. So you can migrate some of your images, either your images or you know play import images. So there's something to be said there. Um, and here's kind of my favorite. Um, my favorite part of this would be the app launcher, because when we think about toolboxes and distroboxes, a lot of times we're thinking about terminal-based apps. What if we can launch um, a version of Audacity that's from Fedora 36, a DaVinci Resolve that's from Ubuntu 2204, and let's say you want to open up um, some specialized monitoring script that you made, but it's in CentOS. But it's not a GUI, but it's a kind of like a program that you made, text-based terminal program that you want to run that kind of opens up and is monitoring whatever, and you just want to open up that. It's not a GUI, but it's a program that you want to have open without having to go through the toolbox and then run the command. You just kind of double click this and it runs. This will be the app library section. And this is where I think this is where the value really hits it with, casual users. They could see some benefit. And of course, this implementation would integrate into the host menu system. So GNOME, when you press the meta key and put Audacity in, you might have Audacity Flatpak, but then right next to Audacity Flatpak, you'll see Audacity icon that may be matched to, maybe coded in such a way where whatever color you picked for the host or the toolbox, it might do something fancy where it applies a shading on the icon, so you can visually know, oh, this is from my Fedora toolbox, and launch it from there. Or it can just add it to the menu with some, stuff that people tend to do anyways with GUI apps, to make launching it easier by having custom menu entries. And you can do Audacity, and then appended to it is Fedora 36 or whatever the shortcut could be. Um, so it feels native, it launches like it's native, and you don't have to do certain stuff. Because right now, what some people are doing, when it comes to launching GUI apps, is they're doing like desktop entries, um, and doing some pretty cool stuff, like basic stuff to kind of make it work. Like, so the fonts might have to be imported in a certain way. All that stuff will be auto configured, so you're not manually running these things to make it launch and to make it look right when you launch it. So that's the idea. And I I don't I don't know how to program. I don't know how to code. There's someone who is, I won't name drop him here, but he is an amazing, from what I hear, just a madman scientist of like just codes and programs and creates stuff and bangs out stuff. Like, he's like a mad scientist, genius programmer who's done some really dope stuff with Fedora, especially Fedora on mobile, with Plasma, a version of Plasma from Fedora, and put it on mobile device. And he said he was interested in something like this, and that he was working on something. So I don't know how far along he is, but there's something he said that, like, maybe the way to move things forward is to kind of help developers and programmers with, maybe on the mock-up side, drafting side, so that if people do feel inspired and pick up someone else's kind of inspiration and want to collaborate, if you don't know how to contribute with marketing or documentation or bug testing and bug triaging or anything like that, maybe this new side of contributing to projects could be beneficial, where you're producing mockups, putting it in front of developers and say, for your consideration, it'll be really cool if we could do this instead. And doing the mockups and doing the hard work of kind of visualizing it. Because sometimes I think there's some great ideas that may just not land when it's through text, or if developers don't really see your vision for it. And maybe this is a new way people who don't know how to program or develop can contribute more effective way, because technically this is a little more of the heavier lift on the front end side and GUI side, that sometimes developers don't really care about or are passionate about, or that's not their strength. And so by pairing it, you can see this can help move things along and inspire. So I'm going to be probably calling these things like for your consideration. It will be pretty much a series of my concepts and prototypes, where this may, hopefully, if you're a developer, programmer who sees this, or sees some of the future videos I'll probably be doing, and feels like, wow, I like this idea. I'm passionate about this space too. I want to collaborate. Please hit me up. Telegram Prophetic 777. Anyways, just kind of a showcase. What do you guys think? Is this overkill? Is Toolboxes just for terminal based stuff and maybe a little bit GUI, and this is not even worth it? Let me know what your thoughts are. And yeah, hope this helps someone. And again, if you're passionate about something, make a mock up. See where it goes. You never know. Have a good one. Peace.